There may be a reason this message found you today, so stay with it for a moment and take a breath. If something in your heart feels stirred, many people would describe that as a moment of spiritual attention, a sense that your soul is being invited to listen more closely. Heaven sees what your life has felt like lately. Heaven sees the nights you stayed awake, the prayers you whispered when no one else knew how tired you were, and the quiet hope you tried to hold on to, even when nothing around you seemed to change. If you have been asking for relief, direction, peace, or even a sign that things can turn around, this moment may feel deeply personal. Some believers would say that Archangel Michael stands near in times like these, not to create fear, but to remind you that you are not abandoned. The struggle may have felt heavy, especially in the areas of provision, timing, and emotional exhaustion. Still, you kept going. You kept praying. You kept hoping. And that matters more than you know. A door that has felt shut for a very long time may not stay shut forever. What once looked delayed could begin to shift in ways you did not expect. What once felt impossible could begin to move, little by little, toward resolution. Many people describe seasons like this as divine alignment, when circumstances begin to come together after a long period of confusion. You were not carried this far by accident. You made it through moments that could have broken you. You kept believing quietly, even when there was no applause, no clear answer, and no immediate result. That kind of faith changes a person. It deepens you. It steadies you. It teaches you how to keep standing, even when you do not yet understand what God is doing. If this message resonates with you, receive it as encouragement rather than pressure. Let it remind you that your life is not forgotten, your prayers are not wasted, and your future is not closed off. There are seasons when things feel still on the surface, yet much more is happening underneath than you can see. You may have sensed recently that something is changing, a strange calm, a quiet warmth, a feeling that the atmosphere around you is not the same as it was before. Many people of faith would say that this is what it feels like when hope starts returning after a long season of weariness. Not fantasy, not denial, just the beginning of renewed expectation. And the shift may not be only about finances, even if money has been one of your deepest concerns. It may also be about peace, clarity, emotional healing, and the restoration of strength that life seemed to take from you. Sometimes the blessing people seek is not only an open door, but also the inner steadiness to walk through it wisely. Picture this for a moment. Archangel Michael beside you, strong and calm, holding a sealed message that represents remembrance, protection, and answered prayer. Not a guarantee of instant riches, but a symbol that heaven has not lost sight of your name. Not a performance, not a trick. A reminder that what is sacred often arrives quietly. The air can feel different when your spirit begins to settle. The room can feel still in a way that is hard to explain. Your thoughts may slow down. Your breathing may deepen. Sometimes people interpret that as peace returning. Sometimes they call it the presence of God. Whatever words you choose, it can feel like a correction is taking place inside you. What life took from you does not always disappear forever. In faith, many believe that God restores in ways that are deeper than what was lost. Not always through spectacle, not always overnight, but through provision, timing, favor, wisdom, and the right door opening when you are finally ready to walk through it. If you want to respond inwardly, let your response be sincere. You do not need to force it. You do not need to perform it. You can simply say in your own heart, I am open to peace. I am open to God's direction. I am open to restoration. A quiet agreement can be more powerful than empty noise. There is a kind of inheritance that is not only material. It can look like peace in your mind, stability in your home, wisdom in your decisions, and strength in places where fear once ruled. For some people, that inheritance includes renewed opportunity, healthier relationships, better stewardship, and a clearer sense of purpose. It may also include practical provision that arrives in the right way and at the right time. If this message were being heard through a YouTube video, this is the moment where I would simply encourage you to stay present and listen. Not because your blessing disappears if you click away, but because distraction has a way of stealing reflection. Give yourself a little space to hear what rises in your spirit when everything else gets quiet. There are moments before a breakthrough, or what feels like a breakthrough, when the atmosphere seems to shift first. Your heart softens. Your fear loosens. Your mind becomes less frantic. You begin to sense that not every closed chapter is the end of your story. That can be the first sign that hope is rebuilding itself. Many believers would say that Archangel Michael's presence symbolizes protection, courage, and the breaking of resistance. Whether you understand that literally, symbolically, or spiritually, the message is similar. You are not meant to stay trapped in the same cycle forever. What has blocked you may not have the final word. The season you have been waiting through may be coming to a close. That does not always mean every problem disappears in a day, but it can mean the direction is changing. It can mean what felt frozen is beginning to move. It can mean the answer is forming before you can fully see it. And the answer may look different than you imagined. It may arrive through a phone call, a conversation, a new idea, an unexpected opening, a practical opportunity, or a relationship that carries peace instead of chaos. Sometimes divine help comes through ordinary channels that become extraordinary only in hindsight. So remain attentive. Stay grounded. Notice what keeps returning to your mind with peace. Notice what no longer feels forced. Notice where fear is losing its grip. Those small shifts matter. They are often the first signs that something in you and around you is being reordered. You have carried a burden for a long time. Financial pressure may have weighed on you. Emotional exhaustion may have followed you. You may have felt like no one truly understood how much effort it took just to keep showing up. Yet you kept going, and that perseverance has shaped you in ways that are now becoming visible. The reward for endurance is not always dramatic at first. Sometimes it begins as clarity. Sometimes it begins as a calm mind after months of internal noise. Sometimes it begins as the courage to stop agreeing with every fearful thought that used to control you. Those things are not small. They are part of restoration. Imagine a golden envelope again, not as superstition, but as a picture of confirmation. Inside it is not pressure, fear, or manipulation. Inside it is the reminder that your life still has purpose, your prayers still have meaning, and your future still contains possibility. That message matters more than panic ever will. What is happening now may not be luck. It may simply be the moment when your spirit begins to recognize that God has not stopped working, Some people would call that divine correction, when heaven gently realigns what grief, loss, delay, and discouragement tried to distort. And if restoration is coming, let it come fully, not only as external relief, but as internal healing, not only as resources, but as wisdom, not only as opportunity, but as discernment, not only as movement, but as peace. What good is an open door if fear still rules the heart that must walk through it? This is why many people say the deeper blessing is not just having more, but becoming more grounded, more faithful, more discerning, and more prepared for what comes next. You are not only being rescued from pressure, you may be being prepared for responsibility. If the financial weight has been real, bring that honestly before God. There is no need to pretend. There is no need to exaggerate. You can simply say, I need help. I need wisdom. I need stability. I need peace. Faith does not always sound dramatic. Sometimes it sounds like truth spoken quietly. The atmosphere may feel lighter because you are no longer carrying everything the same way. The burden may feel less crushing because something inside you is changing. Hope can reduce fear before circumstances even change. That is one of the ways healing begins. There are people who believe spiritual opposition can intensify around areas of purpose, identity, and provision. Whether you describe it that way or not, you likely know what it feels like when discouragement keeps pressing against your mind. But take heart, discouragement is not destiny. Delay is not denial. Pressure is not proof that you have been abandoned. Archangel Michael is often associated with courage in the face of spiritual conflict. In that sense, let this message remind you that fear does not get to narrate your future. Shame does not get to define your worth. Scarcity does not get to become your permanent identity. Those things may have visited your life, but they do not own it. The blessings you seek are not always random. Sometimes they grow out of everything you have survived. The strength you gained in the hidden season becomes the foundation for the next one. The prayers you thought disappeared may have been forming patience, endurance, and deeper trust all along. And when opportunities begin to come, you may notice that you are different than you were before. You may not panic the same way. You may not chase every door. You may not say yes to what once would have distracted you. That is maturity. That is spiritual growth. That is what happens when pain teaches you how to listen more carefully. There is wisdom being formed in you, and that matters. In the coming days, you may receive ideas, insight, strategy, or direction that feels unusually clear. Write those thoughts down. Test them with peace, discernment, and common sense. Not every thought is an instruction, but sometimes a clear next step arrives gently rather than dramatically. Divine guidance, for many people, does not look like spectacle. It looks like a calm conviction. It looks like the right conversation at the right time. It looks like seeing what used to confuse you with new clarity. It looks like knowing what to pursue and what to release. That kind of guidance is a gift. There may be dormant strengths in you that are beginning to wake up. Confidence, discernment, patience, courage, creative thought, better stewardship, emotional steadiness. These are also forms of blessing. They help you carry what you once prayed for. If this were spoken in a video, I would not tell you that liking, subscribing, or commenting unlocks heaven. That is too much weight to place on an action online. But I would say this: if a message encourages you, engage with it because it helps you stay present, reflective, and intentional. Let your response come from sincerity, not fear. A protective peace may be settling over you right now. Many believers would connect that with the promise that what is meant for your good will not be easily stolen, not because life becomes effortless, but because God can preserve what He intends to build in you and through you. People may have misunderstood you. Some may have underestimated you. Others may have spoken carelessly over your life, your future, your value, or your ability to recover. But another person's limitation does not become heaven's conclusion about you. Words spoken in fear do not outrank what God speaks in truth. So let the false labels fall away. Let the old shame lose its power. Let the story that said you would always struggle begin to break apart. Many people live for years under internal agreements they never meant to sign. I will never get out of this. I will never have peace. Things never work for me. Those agreements can be released. Favor, when it comes, may not look loud. It may look like the right person remembering your name, the right answer arriving at the right hour, a door opening that you did not force, a practical solution appearing after months of confusion, peace returning where panic used to live. That is no small thing. The pressure you endured was not meaningless. It tested you, yes, but it also refined you. It showed you where your foundation was weak and where your faith had become real. It separated performance from sincerity. It taught you how to keep breathing, keep praying, and keep standing when easy answers were nowhere to be found. You are not the same person who entered the hard season. You are stronger now, more honest, more aware, less impressed by appearances, more willing to trust God in quiet ways. That may be one of the greatest treasures hidden inside everything you have gone through. If you feel moved to respond, let it be simple. I trust God. I receive peace. I welcome wisdom. You do not need complicated language. You do not need to convince anyone else. A sincere heart is enough. Understand this clearly. What is meant for you does not always depend on striving harder. There are seasons for work, obedience, and discipline, and those matter. But there are also seasons for receiving, for allowing, for trusting the process, and for refusing to sabotage good things with old fear. When something good begins to happen, watch your thoughts. The old mindset may try to speak first. It may say, "This cannot be real. This is too much for me. I probably do not deserve it." But worthiness is not always the right question. Sometimes the better question is whether you are willing to receive with humility and use what comes with wisdom. Do not apologize for healing. Do not shrink when peace arrives. Do not mistrust every good thing simply because your past held disappointment. Learn to recognize blessing without idolizing it, and learn to receive help without turning it into fear. This next chapter may ask you to live more in alignment than in anticipation, to walk in what has been placed in front of you rather than endlessly waiting for permission, to choose peace over panic, to choose stewardship over impulse, to choose trust over control. There is a difference between being prepared and being stuck in preparation forever. Maybe that long season of getting ready is ending. Maybe now you are meant to move with steadiness instead of hesitation. Maybe clarity is finally replacing confusion. Take another breath. Let gratitude rise naturally, not as performance, but as recognition. You are still here. You made it through. You learned things that could not have been taught any other way. Even before every answer appears, that is already significant. There comes a point when a message settles, not because every mystery has been solved, but because your spirit stops resisting the peace in front of it. From there, you begin to walk differently. Slower, perhaps, wiser, less frantic, more certain of what matters, and less attached to what only made noise. The path ahead may already be forming beneath your feet. Provision may already be moving, even if you cannot see all of it yet. Your purpose may already be in motion, even if the picture is not complete. Many times, what people call breakthrough begins before the evidence becomes visible. If there is a strong feeling around you right now, let it lead you toward stillness rather than anxiety. Let it remind you that peace can be a form of confirmation. Not every sacred moment has to be dramatic. Sometimes the holiest thing is the quiet certainty that fear is no longer in charge. Picture Archangel Michael standing near again, not to frighten you, but as a symbol of strength, covering, and calm. Picture his presence like a shield against envy, confusion, and the noise that has tried to drain you. Picture Jesus drawing close, not with condemnation, but with compassion, light, and steadiness. And hear this gently. Your long season of waiting was not pointless. It revealed your faith in ways comfort never could. It showed what remained true in you when so much else felt uncertain. And now, the possibility of restoration speaks back into that same place. Things may begin to flow more naturally than before. Conversations may become easier. The right openings may appear without the same strain. Where there was silence, there may be movement. Where there was heaviness, there may be relief. This is not about forcing magic into ordinary life. It is about noticing when grace begins to meet you in real ways. Heaven, as many believers understand it, is not only interested in your comfort. It is interested in your wholeness, your calling, your growth, and your readiness to carry what you once asked for. That is why some blessings take time, not because you were forgotten, but because your life was being shaped. You are not who you used to be. Your spirit has matured. Your patience has deepened. Your heart has been softened and strengthened at the same time. You can hold weight now that once would have crushed you. You can recognize peace now in places where you once entertained chaos. You may also be sensing that your capacity is expanding. Your inner life is becoming stronger. Your ability to carry responsibility, opportunity, and influence with balance may be increasing. That matters. Peace, clarity, and provision are often drawn toward people who have learned how to handle them with humility. Many people want the next chapter without the inner growth required to sustain it. But perhaps your life is entering a season where readiness and opportunity are beginning to meet. That is powerful. That is worth honoring. Your name, metaphorically speaking, may now be associated with favor, not because you manipulated heaven, but because your life remained open to God through pain. There is something deeply moving about a person who keeps their heart tender after disappointment. That kind of faith changes the atmosphere around them. Help may come through conversations, messages, practical support, good counsel, or a door that opens at the right moment. Let it come. Receive it. Pray over it. Use discernment. But do not reject every good thing out of habit. This is also a moment to fully accept that the season of uncertainty may be loosening its hold. That does not mean you will never face questions again. It means confusion may no longer be your default home. A clearer season may be beginning. Take a deep breath and let peace do what fear could never do. Let it settle your chest. Let it quiet the noise in your mind. Let it remind you that clarity often enters softly. The stillness you feel may not be empty. It may be full of completion. There is no need to exaggerate what is happening. There is also no need to dismiss it. You can simply acknowledge that something in you has shifted. Trust may be becoming knowledge. Hope may be becoming stability. What felt far away may be coming close. The next part of your life may carry more clarity in decision-making, more natural opportunity, and relationships that add strength instead of draining it. Things may begin to fit better, not because life becomes perfect, but because you become more aligned with what is healthy, wise, and timely. If this message is helping you reflect, stay with it until the end. Not out of fear, but because some truths need time to settle fully. Sometimes people rush past the very words they most need to hear because they are used to being distracted. Give this moment a little more room. Everything may not be finished, but something important may be sealed inside you today. A renewed agreement with peace, trust, and forward movement. That is not small. In many ways, it is where the visible changes begin. There are signs that a process is reaching completion when the panic eases. Your thoughts become clearer, and your spirit feels less divided. You stop feeling like you are chasing something that keeps moving away. Instead, you begin to sense that what is for you can meet you without chaos. The presence of God, as many describe it, can feel both strong and gentle at the same time. It does not always rush. It does not always shout. It often settles, reassures, and confirms. Peace itself can become the evidence you were looking for. Remember that well. Peace can be proof. Not proof that every problem has vanished, but proof that you are no longer ruled by the same fear. Proof that trust is gaining ground. Proof that your spirit recognizes what your mind is still learning to accept. Your life may look different going forward. There may be less confusion around decisions. Opportunities may feel more natural and less forced. Certain relationships may become healthier, while others quietly fall away. That can also be part of divine order. If you continue with this path, let your focus stay on sincerity, wisdom, and grounded faith. Not hype, not fear, not emotional pressure. Just an honest openness to what God may be doing in your life right now. This moment can be complete without becoming theatrical. It can be sealed without becoming manipulative. It can be meaningful without demanding performance. That is how real peace often works. It does not need to prove itself by noise. So here, at the close of this message, simply receive what is good and leave what does not bring peace. Hold on to what strengthens your faith, your clarity, and your sense of purpose. Let go of pressure, fear, and anything that tries to turn a sacred moment into anxiety. You did not arrive here for nothing. Whether you see this as providence, timing, or simple encouragement, something in you was ready to hear it. Let that matter. Let it settle. Let it do its quiet work. May your heart grow steadier. May your mind grow clearer. May your steps become wiser. May the help you need arrive in the right form and at the right time. May peace guard what fear has tried to drain. May provision meet you with wisdom. May your faith become calmer, deeper, and more secure. And if you choose to answer inwardly, let your answer be honest. I am open to peace. I am open to God's direction. I am ready to walk forward with trust, wisdom, and gratitude. What is meant for me will not require panic to receive. What God is building in me will not be wasted. Let that be enough for today.